Hey, so I had this really interesting question from someone, and I wanted to read it to you guys here. So this is from, I believe it's Illy SB. I'm only in 8th grade. Tomorrow will be my report solo, and I'm so shy and my voice is too low, and I'm afraid that I'll somehow cry and have a mental breakdown or have mental breakdowns, sweat and turn red in my presentation. Please pray for me, please, how to have confidence. All right, well, first of all, thank you so much for reaching out and sending me this message. I really felt this, I guess I felt really quite touched by it because it was so heartfelt and because this person, Illy, and because you are in the 8th grade and that you are courageous enough to reach out and ask for help. That is amazing, and it just shows what kind of person you are. So I guess I want to talk about a few things here that will help with your confidence and also just, I guess, things to think about as you're going through your life as a young person. So first of all, I want to talk about being afraid. What does it mean to be afraid? Is it a bad thing? Well, in fact, being afraid is perfectly normal. As you know, we are humans and humans have a natural fear. We fear the unknown. We fear something that is completely unfamiliar to us. Giving a presentation in front of a lot of people, in front of even our classmates, our friends, that is something that we don't normally do. So obviously it is natural that we would be afraid. Now, that is normal. That's okay to be afraid. The other part about being afraid is that it shows that you actually care about what you are about to do or this thing that you have to do. No matter what it is, it's not necessarily just a presentation. It could be anything. If you have a bit of fear, if you have some emotion towards this, then obviously it means that you care about it. The opposite would also be true if you didn't feel anything about what you're about to do, then possibly you didn't care about it. You had no feelings about it whatsoever, so there was no sense of anxiousness or fear. But when you do feel that anxiousness or fear, it's just a good indication that you care about what is about to happen, this thing that you have to do, this task, this presentation that you have to do. It's something that you genuinely care about, so it's not a bad thing. So what can you do, right? We want to find some kind of a solution for this. But I guess first of all, I want to talk about a bit of context about what this really means in the sense of your overall life and where you are right now. Being in the 8th grade, it's a hard time. I was in the same situation when I was in the 8th grade. Everybody's gone through it where, these kind of things seem like a really big, massive situation is going to happen to you. Just remember, though, that this is a very brief moment in time overall in your life, and that it's not going to be the definition of who you are and who you will become. You will always have a chance to become somebody else, to do something better. You're not defined by this moment and by this presentation. As an example, when I was in the 8th grade, I remember on the very first day of 8th grade, in fact, the person who was next to me, someone who I'd never even met before, the first thing they said to me was, "You nerd." And I never forgot that. But I remember at the time, it wasn't anything that was hurtful. I didn't feel hurt by it. I know that this person was not being nice about it, but it wasn't something that hurt me. I almost felt like this person needed some help or needed to talk to somebody because they were obviously so unhappy with themselves that they would say this to a complete stranger. So it never bothered me. It never defined who I am today and who I was going to become. So, don't worry about these moments. I mean, they are obviously important to you, but they're not going to define who you are as a person. And also because you're looking at this now as an 8th grader and thinking, okay, well, how am I going to improve this? How am I going to deal with this? That is great because it means that you're going to be far ahead of your peers who have not taken a look at themselves, who have not taken the chance to reach out for help and to overcome this challenging time and challenging situation. And again, it also means that you care. It means that you are taking responsibility for yourself rather than hoping that things happen or, hoping that you don't have to do this or avoiding the situation. It's really great and a sign of maturity that you're actually taking responsibility for what is happening to you. Okay, so let's get into the first sort of solution here, first idea, first sort of tip that will help you. And that is to do the opposite, to think about the opposite thing. So imagine that you are, anxious, you're scared, you're thinking you're going to cry, that you're really nervous, that your face is turning red, you're going to be sweating. Well, what would be the opposite of all those things? What kind of mindset could you develop in yourself that says, okay, yes, I realize I'm going to be these things, How would I be able to do the opposite of those? So imagine that you were confident, that you were not sweating, that you were maybe not turning red in the face, that you were actually very calm and confident and smiling and enjoying the moment rather than being scared and anxious about it. What would that be like for you? One thing that you can do is to actually emulate somebody who does possess those types of qualities. So this person could be someone that you look up to, it could be someone on TV, it could be an actor, it could be anybody that you think is a very good role model for you. How do they act? What do they do? So it's not an exact, fake it till you make it type of advice. This is more just looking at them and thinking, okay, what aspects of their personality, their character, their behavior can I emulate? And then your job is to then add parts of you, who you are, and your personality to those traits, to what that person is doing, to make it your own. Now, this does take some time. It's not going to be something that can happen overnight. However, if you look at people who are professional actors or things like that, they need to take on these characters. They need to learn who these people are in order to perform well. So it is possible to learn these skills in a much faster time. It just takes practice and dedication. So you're going to want to think about, well, what is your motivation for wanting to change in this way? What do you want to do so that you will be motivated to practice and try this every single day to get better? And it is going to take practice, it is going to take a little bit of time, and it will take some dedication on your part every single day to work on this. And at least keep it in the back of your mind, or at least have it so that it's a goal of yours, so that you know what you're trying to achieve and that you're going to be motivated to achieve this long-term goal of yours. One question that you can ask yourself is, how important is this to you? Is this something that is very important to you so that you know exactly why it's important to you, and therefore you'll be motivated to always strive for this particular goal, to overcome this anxiety and this fear, and to develop this confidence in giving presentations, and also just being more confident in your daily life too. The second tip is to be well prepared. No matter how confident you are, no matter how you feel, how great you feel, if you're not prepared, that is just a recipe for disaster. Any presentation you definitely need to prepare for, because people will know if you're not prepared. You will stumble, you will not remember things, you will forget things. And believe me, your teachers know when you are prepared versus when you are not prepared. And when you're prepared, you'll just have that extra bit of confidence knowing that you already know what you're going to talk about. So make sure that you understand the goals of the presentation, what you're actually supposed to talk about in the presentation, who the audience is, and then make sure that you practice. Give yourself enough time to prepare and to practice so that you feel really good going into the presentation. It's just like that with anything. If you were a professional athlete, you wouldn't get to where you are without practicing and preparing. You couldn't just step onto the championship stage or something and be able to win or expect to win based on talent or skill or confidence alone. Yes, maybe a bit of willpower can help you, but being well prepared also will propel you to greater heights and to be able to overcome or to do well in whatever area you choose. The third and final tip that I have for you is to find opportunities to develop yourself. As an example, one thing you could probably do is look for organizations that you care about, that you think are doing well in your community, and volunteer with them. That's what I did actually when I was a teenager, is I actually volunteered. It really helped me with my confidence. It forced me to get out of my comfort zone. As an example, when I was 15 years old, I volunteered during the summertime as a student youth leader, as a camp leader for young kids. These kids were, I think, between 6 and 11 or 12 years old, and I was only 15 at the time, but I was able to work with other young adults and be a part of this group and help these kids. So that helped get me out of my comfort zone. It helped me to learn new skills because I was trying to manage and work with these kids. And also it just made me feel better about myself, that I could make a difference, that I could be different than what I'd normally be in school. When I was 18 years old, I actually volunteered to work with the Vancouver Police Department. I went there, I was in the Victim Services Department. I was able to, again, step out of my comfort zone and do something that was completely different, to work with the public and to be forced to have to do well in a position of responsibility. And these were all unpaid. These were all just volunteer opportunities. So I think one thing you could really do to improve your confidence is to find opportunities like that, to volunteer, get out there in the community, do something that you would enjoy and for an organization that you care about. The other part of that is to think about getting a job. When I was 18 years old, I had a job working in retail. And the specific reason why I got that job was to work on my interpersonal skills. It was to really have a place to practice these skills and to develop myself while also getting paid. So I never really looked at it as a job. I looked at it as a learning opportunity where every day you got to go and perform and try to do your best in this really challenging environment of customer service and retail. You were expected to sell, but also to be a good customer service representative, to represent the company well. So I wanted to be really good at it. So I learned from people who were good at it and just kept working at it. And that really helped me to just get over that uneasiness of talking to people. So it made it much easier for me to approach new people. It made it easier for me to do everything else, really, that I've done that has required me to speak in front of other people. So look for things like that where, okay, it's not just a job, it's not something that you're going there and just getting paid for, but it's also a good learning opportunity. So volunteering and possibly getting a job could be other options for you. Okay, so let's recap what we talked about today. First of all, thank you so much for the question, for the comment there. I really appreciate that, Illy. It's amazing that you actually even came out and started talking about this with me. Amazing, fantastic. But remember that fear is perfectly normal. Being anxious is perfectly normal. These are things that you can overcome and get better at reducing. They'll never go away simply because we're human, but don't worry about it. These are things that you can work on. And three of the ways that you can work on this fear and develop your confidence is, number one, to do the opposite, to be the opposite of who you are now and instead try to be who you would like to be. The second part was to be well prepared. Make sure that if you're going to give a presentation or doing whatever you're doing, be well prepared. And third, volunteer. Do something like get a job. Find a way to develop yourself and improve yourself outside of your normal environment. Okay, so I hope you found those tips helpful, especially for you, Illy, but for all of you out there that are watching this. Hopefully these tips will help you to become more confident, to feel less anxious, and to have some sort of idea or at least some tips or ways that you can solve this problem for yourself and to overcome this challenge. Let me know if you yourself have already developed your confidence or improved your confidence in some way. Let us know. Share what you've done in order to do that. And also let me know if you have any questions or comments about this video as well. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.